Hey there! I wanted to take a couple moments and share my behind the scenes recap of my life in 2025. Now, this isn't a highlight reel by any means. It is more of a real life reel where I share the good, the bad, the hard, the challenging, and the things that I'm carrying with me into 2026. So grab your coffee and let's rewind a little bit. I want to start with some of the really good stuff because I know as a type 1, I can forget to celebrate the good things. Not only is that a type 1 thing, I think all Enneagram types can do that, but ones especially can forget the fun things. So I want to start there. There are 5 big wins, or what I would consider to be big wins from 2025. The first was I had my very first out of state Enneagram workshop. Shout out to Good Life Eye Care. This was a phenomenal team to get to work with and a huge win, a huge milestone for me. So, very thankful for that. The second was I have had the privilege of facilitating 20 Enneagram workshops this past year, and that is a 25% growth from the year before. So it is fun to see the business slowly grow. It's not a full-time thing yet, but that's the end goal, that it would grow to be a full-time job. And so it looks like we are well on our way. Third, I got to speak at Russell Debris' marketing conference. He called it Elevate, and everybody who attended, he called elevators, that is my kind of humor. I absolutely loved it. And it was both terrifying and super fun to get to be a speaker at a conference. Fourth, one of my clients actually found me through ChatGPT, of all the places. I may have bragged about that. Well, I'm still bragging about that a little bit. It is so fun for me. And finally, the 5th big win of the year is that after applying for 3 years and not getting in, I was finally accepted into Life in the Trinity Ministries Enneagram Cohort, and specifically in the Enneagram for the Modern World cohort with Billy and Joey Shuey. And it changed so much of the way that I think about the Enneagram and how I implement it in workplaces. It has made me a better Enneagram presenter. It has helped me coach people better. I have found incredible friendships through this cohort. I cannot say enough good things about this cohort. I loved it so much that I'm actually doing it again this year, because why do something once when you could do it twice? One of my favorite things about this year was getting to work with Tree Man Solutions. I did quarterly trainings with them, and their founder, Mark Mann, who is an Enneagram 3, is truly one of a kind. If you know anything about the Enneagram, you probably know that it's really hard for 3s to look inward and do their work. However, Mark has done this and more. He is humble, he is kind, he is encouraging, he looks to grow, but he is also very aware of ways that he can get better and his shortcomings, and he's honest and vulnerable with that, which I think set the tone for the whole team. I love this team, so much so that I may or may not have teared up when I said my goodbyes in our last quarterly training. Truly, I think the gift is they're interested, they want to use the Enneagram, they are trying to get better, and that is why I do what I do. This team is just above and beyond, very special to me, absolutely one of my favorite things about 2025. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about some of the harder or challenging things about this year. So late in 2024, I was diagnosed with bipolar 2 disorder, which was really challenging and made the start of this year really scary. In January and February, I was not sleeping very much while I was adjusting to medication, and I struggled with suicidal thoughts, suicidal ideation. I even started planning ways to take my own life. And this fear that I would lose my life was compounded by the fact that my dad had bipolar 1 disorder and took his life in 2016. So this year I've cried a lot. But something my friend Andrew Core said has stuck with me. He said that tears are an honest confession, and I just love that. There's a belief that I had to unlearn here, that I'm still unlearning, if I'm being honest, that I am not my dad. That just because my dad committed suicide does not mean that that is the trajectory for my life. It's a hard lesson. I'm still in the process of learning it. But another impactful lesson I had learned was that when you make your stress move, you can move to the low side of that number, or you can intentionally move to the high side of that number. For example, as a type 1, my stress move is to the 4 space. And for most of 2025, I was on the low side of that 4 space. I isolated, I felt like I was fundamentally flawed, and I struggled with envy. I envied everybody who didn't seem to struggle the way I seemed to struggle. But when I realized you can intentionally choose the high side, I started looking at those high side behaviors of 4. And so I started journaling and I started writing poetry. And I will link in the description for you one of my absolute favorite poems that I have written this year. Okay, let's talk about when plans fall apart, because inevitably they do. There's this saying, I don't know who said it, but I love it. It is that planning is everything, plans are nothing. And as an Enneagram 1, sometimes it's nice to be reminded of that. At the beginning of the year, I set a goal to release a YouTube video every other week. That did not happen. Because of my diagnosis and the medication changes, I had to put that goal on pause for most of the year, which was really challenging to me because ones care deeply about keeping their commitments. So every time I would look at my annual goals and see that, I would feel like a failure or like I was weak or I was letting somebody down. But here's what I learned. Nobody was angry. Nobody was disappointed. And I never got an email that said, Kelsey, we are very upset with you for not producing more content. That just didn't happen. So looking ahead at 2026, my phrase for the year is to get 1% better, which is very on brand for a type 1, I realize. The thing I'm leaving behind and the thing I'm not taking with me is the lie that because my dad committed suicide, so will I. So if 2025 has been a hard year for you, or it's been messy, or it didn't go as planned, I hope you know that you are not alone. May 2026 be a blessing to you. May we all get 1% better and be a little kinder to ourselves, even if we cry a little or a lot. Happy New Year, and thanks for watching.